In this video, I'm going to talk about the vehicle platform in which I like using brushless motor setups in. I'm going to show you what brakes on these cars, what is really solid on these cars, and then at the end of this video, we're going to show you these launching off some ramps and doing some awesome things, and that way you can really see what these are made of and what they can handle, and maybe what they can't. Brushless motors. There's so many options out there. There's cheap ones, there's expensive ones. Is there a big difference? Should I go with this one? What about that one? Oh, there's this one too? There's so many options, right? Which car should I use them in? Should I buy a car that's already got a brushless setup, or should I make my own? Well, let me show you what I did. And I'll show you what batteries I do and don't like. These really are the same car with different bodies on them. And you could buy just one of these cars and interchange the bodies on it if you want to. I've already got a new one for this car. I just like to beat them up all the way before I change them out and throw them away. So these are from the PX Toys family. It's the PX Toys 9200. There are actually several different manufacturers that sell this same car. There's the PX Toys version, DRC, there's Hollyton, Enos, and there might be more that I'm not thinking of, and there might be more that I don't know of. This brushless motor and ESC combo was a $30 set from Amazon. And it was good for a while. It's a 4600 kV motor, but the motor did get really hot, and the ESC would start getting kind of hot too. Well, now the ESC fan no longer works, and it gets hot within 5 minutes and stops running. So it's hard for me to recommend this system. It was cheap, but if it doesn't last, then it's really not saving you any money. There's several that look the same. There's orange ones, there's black ones. There's ones that do have ribs and ones that don't, but a lot of them look like they're the same system. It's a 60 amp and it says it's waterproof ESC, but I just don't trust it. I haven't had any water issues with it, but we try not to put them in the water. Anytime we've accidentally run it through a puddle though, it seems like it's fine. We opted to go with the Dumbo RC radio because these are cheap and they're extremely responsive. Everything that I've seen on those, good reviews. So now this one. One of the first upgrades I'll show you are these rubber body clip straps. I'm gonna put a link in the description for these. They are well worth it because these clips do pop out really easy, and these at least keep them from getting lost. And these straps are for 8th scale cars, so they come with a pretty thick clip. So I just take these clips out, use them in my bigger cars, and put smaller body clips on them. So I do recommend you hopping in that description and picking up a set or two of those. Now the brushless setup in this one is a Hobby Wing. It's an Easy Run 3300 kV motor. It's a 3652 can size. You could go a little bit longer, but there's not really any more room to go wider. You can get a 3-wire brushless servo for these. I'll put a link for that in the description. There will be a link for all this stuff in the description, the cars and these parts I'm showing you. I have 2S and 3S batteries that fit in this car that I'll show you. Of course, there'll be links to those as well. This motor and ESC system runs much cooler. The battery life is also much better, which just tells you that this is a more efficient setup. It is, of course, more expensive. It actually comes with a second fan, so when this one breaks, you have another one you can put on there. The ESC stays cool, and the motor stays cooler than the one on this car does. It's got a push button instead of a switch, so it is much less likely to shut off during a hard impact. This one does not have an adjustable motor mount, so you can't change the pinion size. You could probably get a universal mount or a mount off of another car that you could mount to the chassis through the bottom and into the motor mount up here, but I have not tried that yet. You could probably also notch out the holes in the plastic motor mount that's in here and do the same thing with some flatter, larger, flatter screws. But I haven't needed to do that. In my opinion, the pinion size is really good for this size motor. It's extremely fast at acceleration. It flips with no hesitation in the air, and it has a pretty good top speed. If you're looking for a speed racer, you will want to go with either a higher kV motor or a higher tooth pinion gear. Also, since this one has a smaller ESC, it fits inside the frame, while in this one, you can see it would not. So I actually had to mount it to the side of this oversized servo. So it's vertical instead of horizontal. And it works, but you know, maybe that's part of why the fan went out, because it's really not made to sit like that. I originally put a metal spur gear in this one, but I went back to the plastic one and it's been fine. I thought it was stripping at one point in a past video, but it wasn't. It was actually the front differential. You can also buy a parts kit for this car, which of course I'll also have a link for that. Let's talk about the chassis itself. It is completely plastic except for a few of your small parts like the hinge pins for the swing arms, and it has this little extra chassis brace. And this is definitely an issue. This keeps happening to all of them, where it bends from hitting a little bump or something in the concrete, and it starts bending it back and it rips out these front differential screws. I've been working on a fix for that by adding a second one to the front, and this bumper's broken, that's why it's like that, but that's a fix I've been working on. It's a prototype, so to speak. Another strong point on this chassis is how easily all these suspension parts bend. That's just a bending control arm. Now, that does add for some somewhat funky handling and not very good high-speed steering, but it's really not that bad, and that's the reason that this thing just never breaks. I have never broken one of these upper control arms or one of these steering links. They bend just the same. I've never broken the rear ones either. I have broken one rear lower control arm. It broke right at the hinge pin, but it was the plastic arm that broke itself. But the kit that I showed you a minute ago does come with an extra one of those. I have broken 2 rear knuckles, and unfortunately that kit doesn't come with them, but they are available to purchase from one of the manufacturer's websites. I have also broken 1 front knuckle. That kit does come with one of those, which is great. Another issue that I do have with them is the suspension arm screws and the shock screws sometimes back out. So if you don't watch that, sometimes they'll back out all the way and they'll get lost. The car does actually come with a couple of those extra screws, and that extra kit you can get comes with extra screws as well. I do use Loctite, and that does help, but they still can back out over time. Another issue is that these shocks bend, again, under hard impact. Actually this one right here is bent now, if you can tell, but sometimes they bend worse, and you can usually just grab some pliers and bend them back and keep bashing. I did find some upgrades. They're oil filled and they have beefier shock rods. So those are on their way. They're coming in the mail, and I'm really excited to try those. I think that's going to be a huge upgrade. Make sure you keep an eye on these wheel nuts because they do like to loosen up over time. Another common breaking point after adding all this extra horsepower is in the wheel pins and the plastic hexes. I have not yet ordered metal hexes. That is definitely on the agenda, but these plastic hexes do sometimes strip out, but that usually only happens once this pin breaks. I actually cut these out of some cotter pins because they seem to be stronger than the original ones, but they do still shear sometimes, and they'll shear much quicker if the wheel nuts loosen up. This is one of the only things that actually break somewhat regularly, are these wheel pins, and usually when that happens it strips out the hex as well. Now I'm going to show you my batteries. This is what the car comes with. It comes with either a 1700 or 1800 milliamp battery. Very basic 2-cell LiPo. These work really well for the car in its stock form. Once you put a brushless motor on it, this battery does not have the proper discharge rating, and it shuts the ESC off. You have to unplug the battery, plug it back in, and then you have to turn the power on the remote down to roughly 50%, and then the car is just not as fast. But it'll work with this battery. And I put an XT60 on some of these so we could still use them if we needed, because that's what I have changed my car to. The first batteries we got were these. These are also 2-cell, Urginex brand, and they were working really well. Didn't have to turn the power down, but after 2 bash sessions, both of these batteries that I have completely died after It was a rough landing, I'm sure. When the second battery died, I even had some foam sitting in the battery tray. And it landed on its wheels that time and everything and just completely shut off. And it was a bad battery. Then I found some Gens Ace bashing batteries. These are 2200 milliamps compared to the ones I just showed you, which are 18. I am happy with these so far. And they're not ultra expensive. Link in the description. Now for 3S. So far, I've been very happy with these. With the 3S battery in this car, it is insane. It does a standing backflip. It flips faster than you can control it in the air. It's super fun because it's insanely fast. These are Ovonics. They're 2200 milliamps as well. I just like to have it to use every now and then. One final hurrah after the 2-cell dies. The battery clip system works really well in these. It's just a plastic strap held in with a bobby pin. It holds these Gens Ace 2-cell batteries just fine, but these 3 cells are too tall. So I ended up running Velcro straps through these holes that are already in there to hold those batteries in, and that does work pretty well. Now I want to show you how these things perform and how much abuse they can take on the bash tracks. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And here's the bash course. Front flip. Ouch. That was a horrible landing. It still did. Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh. Almost. I think you missed. Sure did. Nice. Wow, whatever that was, it landed it. not the Ooh. Oh. Ooh. That was messy and it landed it. Ooh. Ouch. I do hope you liked this video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more in the future, and share it with some other people if you know it could help them in their brushless quests. We'll see you on the next one.